Hello, world. Welcome to our podcast. We don't quite have a name yet. We have one that we're thinking about, but we're just unsure. So for now, we're just a new podcast. But I'm Kristyn B, and
I'm Ryan.
We've been talking about having. I don't even know. Like, this intro part is just weird. Let's see. So we've been talking about starting a podcast for the past few months now, at least.
It's been a while.
And we finally got to a point where it's like, okay, we're either going to put up or shut up. Like, we're going to do this or we're not. And we're finally doing this. So, yeah, here we are.
Yes. Yes.
So I guess we're just going to jump right into the conversation. We just have a lot of random conversations all the time, just about things. And one of the biggest things that we've been talking about a lot, or the past year, really longer than that, but I say it's been more concentrated over the past year, has been self-awareness. A lot of people we admire, a lot of people who we look to as, you know, successful entrepreneurs or athletes or whoever, they have the same mentality that, you know, self-awareness is first. Like, you have to know yourself in order to know what you want and to know what steps you need to take to get there. So I just want to talk about like what has helped us keep that kind of mindset and striving for self-awareness and striving for happiness.
Well, for me, what helped me a lot was a crap load of reading, even though I didn't read a whole bunch, like, compared to other people, but I haven't read nearly as much as I have before than I did now. Like,
and who helped you start?
Oh, we gonna do that. All right. I mean, you helped me in some ways, yes. I mean, you could hand me a book. Would it take me to read it? Yeah. No, but it started when I actually got let go from my job at Duke Energy. It was a real shocker. But then I ended up picking up what book is that? Rich Dad. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I actually read that. I never enjoyed a book so much until I read that, which is insane because I hated reading. It sounds pretty stupid. Like, like a stupid person, like, I hate reading. But yeah, I hated reading at the time. Well, before then, because it was because I was in school, so it was based about stuff that I didn't care about, like, you know, Shakespeare. Like, I don't care. Like, or like the American Revolution. I don't care. Like, okay, whatever. But I know it taught me a lot about finances, or at least just being a little bit more smarter with my money. And then, man, nothing make me read than getting let go from my job. Because the last time, because I got let go of my job again, another job that I've had for 2 years. And then I started reading a lot more, but this was more based in spirituality and the real self-awareness stuff. Eckhart Tolle's A New Earth. I can't remember. Was that a book that you found out about?
Yeah, I actually was listening to the Super Soul podcast with Oprah, and they were reading the book, and so I listened to the podcast first. That's right. And I was like, oh snap, like, I gotta get this book. And so, because I had read The Power of Now before, so I was already hip to who Eckhart was, and which I still have to read. Yeah,
I gotta read it. I bought the book.
Talk about life-changing book, man.
But yeah, so that book really got me thinking more about myself and life in general. So like that really did change the way I think about life now, because you know it takes the extreme seriousness that a lot of us will get taught, which life is serious to a degree, but it's one of those things where you shouldn't take it too serious to where it makes you miserable. And I think that our time here is to be enjoyed and to be fulfilled with things that we want to do and what we enjoy and like to do. But yeah, so I'll stop there. And
so for you, one of the biggest pieces of continue on your path to self-awareness is reading. Like reading spiritual self-help.
Yeah, for sure.
Books. Yeah.
For sure. On top of that, like I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos, listening to a lot of different podcasts or like interview style interviews and stuff. That is just a lot of the influential people that are very self-aware and that we see on TV and stuff like that, or that's real big motivational speakers and stuff like that. It really does help with the mindset aspect of especially entrepreneurship, but mostly just life. So I think that's another thing. I wish that if it was anything that I wish I did like years ago was to watch or listen to a lot of those type of videos on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean it's definitely the same for me. Reading a ton of books. I've read a good handful of books at this point that have completely changed my life, transformed my way of thinking. And the things that I've been reading, it strikes true to me. It's just like an inner wisdom there that you just know this stuff is true. And so when you read it, you're just like, oh man, like it just makes total sense. So reading is definitely huge. Also like looking at videos, following certain people on social media, conversations with people. I'm trying to think. Like I know for me this past year, the people that have been super influential, I'll just go famous people, have been like Gary Vaynerchuk.
Yeah.
Huge. Like it just really just made me want to go into high gear. Let me think. Oprah, of course.
Yep.
I think. Yeah, there's a handful of people. For whatever reason, I can't think of them right now. it's a lot. Les Brown. Oh my God. Let me tell you, Les Brown had his wording and the way he just storytells is just like off the charts.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't understand. Like how does your mind work that way to be able to speak that way? It's amazing. It's amazing.
I remember, I think Mom sent me a YouTube video like when I was still working at my job. It was the hungry one.
Yeah.
And that was like, wow. Like I know I remember hearing that speech before because my mom listened to it, or she listened to Les Brown a lot when I was younger. So I know it kind of tapped into some deep memory that I had, but I mean, what he was talking about is insanely true, especially when it comes to even just getting ahead in life with anything, really. Like you gotta be you got to be completely willing to do whatever it takes to get to the next step in your life that you want. Not necessarily doing anything bad to other people or doing something negative, but it's just, if it's the stuff that you don't want to do, you got to do it.
Right. And the imagery, what was the deathbed imagery? Or wait, no. Was that the same speech that he said that?
I don't think it was the same speech.
Or was it the deathbed? It was the cemetery.
Yeah, I mean it was a death. Well, they went hand in hand, because what he was saying, it was like, imagine like people want like their family and friends and stuff around when like they last time here,
right?
But it was saying, imagine that all of the people around you was all of your ideas and stuff that never left your mind, that you never put into action, that could have been something. And another thing he was saying is that the richest land isn't like where oil or where diamonds and stuff is. It's in the cemeteries, because that's where a lot of the best ideas, the best inventions, the best businesses, everything that could have probably made the world better is buried with the person that had the idea. So I mean, that's deep. Real deep. So with that, it make you think like, don't let your idea go unrealized. Even if you tried and failed, at least you tried and it failed, instead of being what if, and then you regret it.
Right.
So definitely big thing.
Yeah. Now I'm trying to think, because it's like a bunch going on in my head, and I'm like, but I guess, so that kind of goes into some of the books that we are, just speaking about the reading, how that's kind of helped us in our journeys, and like the books that we've been reading like recently, in recent months. I know you've been reading Think and Grow Rich. And I just read The Alchemist, which I had bought that book some like a few years ago, and it's just been sitting there, and I just haven't read it. Didn't get around to it, but it's one of the most highly recommended books. So I was like, I have to read it, and I'm glad I did, because man, like, that story was just beautifully written. And there's so many lessons that are intertwined in each scene and everything, and it's really great. But
yeah, I mean, for what you was telling me about it, I like the idea of having those lessons that you can get from a normal self-help book, but through a story. So it gives you a better image of how those lessons can be applied, or where you can find those same lessons that you may have ran into that you probably haven't even noticed, because you were in it. So I think that's a really good, from what you were saying, it sounded like a really good book.
Yeah, sure. It is. I highly recommend it to everybody. I think everyone should read that book. It's really dope.
Who is it by? Remember?
Oh my goodness. Thanks, I didn't write. Hold on. I almost brought the books down too, but I didn't, because I had like 30 books in my hand. I'm like, you're ridiculous.
Yeah, so while she looking up that, so the book that I'm reading currently, which has taken me almost like 6 months, it seemed like it's taking me forever to read this, but I'm reading Think and Grow Rich. more than halfway through the book though. It's about Napoleon Hill. If no one knows who he is or who the author is, a lot of wealthy people have read this book and recommend it, and so far I see why. But the only thing I would say about this book is the writing style. It's very dry. It's like a dry, almost like if you had a rich grandpa, it's like he just tell you how it is and that's it. There's no like real story around everything. There's nothing. It's not funny. It's very lecture. It's almost lecture based. That's how I feel. But I mean, the stuff that's in it is incredible. So far that I've read, got some good lessons in there that I think that even if you're not looking to become like this incredible rich person, which I don't see why anybody would not try to strive for that, but it can be something that can be applied in any other parts of your life that you want to see better. This is specifically talking about money though. So, but who was the author of the Alchemist?
Alchemist. And it's like I had his name in my head, but I couldn't remember exactly. But Paulo Coelho, and I hope I did not mispronounce that. I actually don't. Horrible English lit major here, even though his name is not English, it is Spanish, but still. I also studied Spanish, so this is you can cut all this out.
Nope.
Hold on a minute. I was trying to see if I could find how to actually pronounce it correctly. But anyway,
well, I guess while we're trying to figure that out, no, but this book kind of goes hand in hand with Les Brown's Hungry video, actually, or speech, because this book is really talking about your desire to acquire something that you've been wanting. It's not necessarily money, but like I said, this book is like geared towards that, because that's the title. But in that case, it's like it's saying you have to have a burning desire, and with that desire will get you to get into the mindset to go after what you want. The desire is that thing that will not let you give up. Is straight persistence and grit, really. And with those things, you would never fail. Okay.
I thought, okay.
That one is, well, I don't know. I don't want to do a whole bunch of like stuff from the book, but I know that like I posted this on Facebook too. It was a crazy, if I can find it. Let's see. I don't know if I wrote it. Did I write it down in here? I don't think I wrote it down. Nope, I ain't write it down. But it was saying something about like it's pretty much just telling you about failure versus success. That failure is inevitable to success, and that it was saying that I can't think of the quote exactly, but it was saying that when you fail, there's no excuses for failure, and with success you don't need it. Like, so it's like you can come up with 1,000 excuses for why you didn't get it or why you failed, but the moment you succeed, all of that stuff goes away. In the sense, in I guess I don't know, shoot. Yeah. Dang, I wish I had it in hand. But I mean, was there anything that stood out to you in The Alchemist?
Yes. Okay, I was trying to, so I came up, found this video that pronounces his name.
Oh gosh.
But it's got an ad on it, of course.
Oh
like
gosh.
I just want the pronunciation, please. Can you
Nigga, ain't no Google search.
Just
Paulo Coelho.
Oh, I said it all wrong.
Paulo Coelho.
Did you hear it?
Paulo Coelho.
Paulo Coelho. So I said it incorrectly. I wanted to make sure I got that right. But yeah, so The Alchemist, it is about a shepherd boy who goes on an adventure to travel the world. Well, not really the world, but he travels to Africa. He is in search of treasure, which a gypsy woman tells him, or he has a dream about this treasure. Like, this kid comes to him in a dream and tells him that there's treasure at the pyramids. And so he goes to a gypsy woman to find out if it's true. And so the gypsy woman reads it, gives him a reading and is saying that, yes, if a child came to you in a dream, that is true. So you have to go find the treasure. So he's traveling. He ends up, he's traveling with his sheep at first. He ends up giving up his sheep. There's a whole bunch of lessons in that. But I don't want to give the story away. But throughout the whole thing, on this journey to find the treasure, he gets sidetracked, and in each way he gets sidetracked, there's a new lesson there. And I just really enjoyed, seeing the journey of that. And also what was very profound about the book also is that he doesn't have a name. It's just the boy. So you can interject anybody into that story. And I think that's so powerful, because you realize that everybody has to go through a journey to get to something that they want or that is calling them to pursue. And there are going to be side things that might get, try to get you off track. But, it's a lesson in each of it. In each thing, there's always a lesson, and it's always something that is a part of the path. It's a part of the journey. So I just thought I just highly recommend everybody read that book. It's really dope. So, and it's a quick read. I mean, I devoured it in like a couple days. Like, it was really quick. So,
dang.
Yeah. Yeah, so would highly recommend it. Well, yeah, the Think and Grow Rich, I've tried to read this book twice, and each time I get to a point and then I just stop reading. I tried to pick it up recently too, and again read a few pages and then kind of stopped. But I'm going to get around. I'm going to get to it. It's just other books be calling my name, and then I dropped the ball. But I'm going to read it because it's one of those other books that's very, very highly recommended. And yeah.
I mean, another thing about the book that I think will make it harder for people to stick with, or at least like kind of connect with more, is that and it depends on the edition that you get, because the author wrote this book in like the 30s, I think.
Yeah.
So
and this is the original. This is the classic edition, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the classic edition is the original. Is all of the original stuff. So he just talking about all of the people that was like real big back then, like Thomas Edison and who else he was talking about? I know Thomas Edison for sure. Harrison Ford, stuff like that. So I mean, it's pretty, like I said, it's pretty dry. I think it's just because of the time. So all of the lingo and all that stuff is like is back then. So you can't really relate a lot. But I mean, the lessons in there and all of the stuff that you need to know are very relevant now. Oh yeah, and I found the quote. I actually had it in my phone. So basically what it was saying is saying success requires no explanations. Failure permits no alibis. So it's pretty it's like pretty powerful when you think about it, because you can fail miserably on everything you do, and then that one win will knock all of that out. But if you fail and then you give up, there's no excuse. Like nobody will accept any excuse that you got for failing. So it's just something to keep in mind. Like, if it's something that you want to go for it. Keep going, because most of the time you'll get it as long as you stick with it. And
I mean, I know we've talked about, what failure really is, and it's like recently we just come to realize the truth of failure, and failure is just a detour. It's really just a detour to get you back on track. Like, oh, you went a little off here, yep. So like adjust so that you can get back on track. But it's not supposed to be a sign to quit. Yeah. Yeah, it's like a maze, basically. You'll turn the wrong way. Yeah. And then you'll get to a dead end. And that's the failure that you run into. So you gotta turn around and go back and then take a different direction. So I mean, I think a lot of people don't take failure as lessons. Mm-hmm. They take it as defeats. And it's also, I feel like oftentimes we talk about how it's hard to succeed, and I think failure is just it's an easy cop out a little bit, because if you because with the excuse thing, it's like if you fail at something, according to you failed, and you're just like, oh, I went out and I did it, but then it didn't work. And so that's just like a reason just to not keep working. Like, that's a reason just to give up. And you're just like, it's much easier to accept the failure than to just use it as a signal or a detour or a lesson. Because then you still have to continue doing the work if you use it that way, versus just using it like, I tried. Right. I mean, I did 2 days of it. So didn't work out. I don't know. Yeah. I think it's I mean, even for me, it's something that I have to learn to deal with often, is to fail. Like, and even in Think and Grow Rich, it tells you that
failure is a temporary thing. It's temporary. Right. So don't let the temporary defeat be your demise, because it's just something that's gonna teach you what you need to know, because in order to get to the point where you want, you have to know how to deal with those type of situations that got you to fail in the first place.
Right.
So it's always something to learn from failure. Even from success is something to learn, because a lot of times you get to a point where you feel like you've done it all, but there's always room for improvement. But the fact that you are successful, you may not see that until it's too late, because somebody did something that improved on what you have, and now you have to fight your way back up. So there's lessons in everything, and that's a big thing that I've had to learn lately.
So getting into that then. So we both run our own businesses. I have an editing business called Crystal Clear Editing. I started it in 2018. So it's coming up on 2 years. And then you want to just introduce your business.
Yeah, so I have a recording studio. It's called Tracks Infinite. I actually started it back in 2009, but here we go with my excuses. But
it's not
basically
an excuse.
I was working, so work got in the way. I really wasn't like ready. I don't think I was ready at the time to actually run a business, but now it's a different story. I see that there's something to build, but I think I'm doing a long-winded version here.
well, it's leading into what I was going to ask. I just wanted to, we're currently, even now, going through a lot of growing pains with our businesses, so to speak.
Yeah. And
so I just wanted to talk a little bit about the misconceptions of owning a business and being an entrepreneur, and then what struggles we're facing, and what has helped us kind of get through it day by day, or what kinds of things are we doing to try to stay afloat through this growing process, because it is a process for sure.
Yeah, I think that's the big key word, process. I think I think the biggest misconception is people think it's a lot easier than what it is. Like, it is a process, and the process isn't short. There are some people that may be able to get it fast, but for the most part, it is a slow burn, and a lot of people don't realize that until they get into it.
Right.
Shoot, I didn't realize how hard it really is until now, like, really. But I think the biggest thing is that a lot of people see the people that's already successful, and they showing their success, so you don't see the hard work or the hard struggles that they had to go through to get to that point, and how long it may have taken them to get there. So
right. And even if they do, because to that point, I feel like social media, and this is not saying like, oh, social media is bad or anything. Absolutely not. What I'm saying is that social media is good at showing the highlight reels, and so you're seeing all the highlight reels of people, business ventures, and just lives in general. And even if they do come on and say like, hey, I know you see what I'm going, doing now, but it wasn't always like this. It was rough. It was, I had to, whatever it was, whatever struggles they were facing, whatever. And you hear that, but the fact that you're not seeing it, it still feels like disconnected, because you're just like, okay, well, yeah, but you're not going through that now. Like, they're seeing you at the success point still. So I think there's like a huge disconnect with that. And for me, hearing business owners and entrepreneurs say that it's hard work, it's not easy, as you think it is. You can't really comprehend exactly what does that mean? Like, how is it going to be hard? What are the struggles you're going to have? And you're not going to know it until you're actually going through it, and you're like, oh, okay, maybe this is what they're talking about, or whatever. Yep. And it looks different for everybody. Everybody's, ventures are going to look different. Yeah. But it's like one of those things I just couldn't quite comprehend, even though I was still nervous about it. I was still nervous, and I was still like, oh, this might be too hard, or me, whatever. But I still couldn't pinpoint like what struggles they were going to be. And I just think it's just a disconnect there, because oftentimes you don't see the struggles as they're happening. So it's hard to connect with that at times. Yeah.
I know another thing is with entrepreneurship, it really do expose a lot of your weaknesses, because
you better say it.
It exposes it big time, and it does fast. I mean, for me, my biggest weakness at this point is like the social aspect, the marketing, the networking side. I feel, I don't know, it's always been something that I had an issue with, just personally. So having to do it in a professional stance or whatnot, whatever you want to say. But yeah, just in that professional realm, it adds another layer of pressure, because now it's like your business is on the line for it, or it's like, shoot, that's how you're gonna make money and all of that. So it's a huge amount of pressure, it feels, especially like to do something that you're not comfortable with doing. And that's the big part that I say with entrepreneurship, is that everything is going to be uncomfortable, and even when you get used to doing it, it's still uncomfortable. And
yeah, for me, one of the biggest things is I have a handful of stuff, I feel like, but one thing that I have struggled with just in general in my life is just making decisions. Like, that is one of the hardest things for me to do. Like, to just quickly make a decision and go with it. Like, I tend to debate and battle it out and question and research and all that stuff. And shout out to Gretchen Rubin, who has done the 4 personality types, so I'm a questioner. If you don't know what that is, you can look that up. It's easy Google search. But anyway, I'm a questioner. So I'm the type of person who needs all the information before I make a decision. And I research things like constantly and trying to, compare and contrast things. And I got to know all the right moves before I do it. And with entrepreneurship, it's like, you're not going to know the answers. You're not going to know until you make a decision and you just go with it. Like, and the quicker you make a decision and the quicker you turn that idea into action, the better. And so that's one thing that I've been working on now, because there's just been a lot of things that idea will cross my mind, or like trying to figure out pricing. Oh my God, that's been a big one. Trying to figure out pricing, like actually requiring people to pay you. It's like, oh man, like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm charging too little, too much, too, whatever. But yeah, it's definitely not too much, but that's for sure. That's for sure. But I start, I start over analyzing, and then I get stuck, and then I just don't move. And it literally causes me to become paralyzed, and I just don't move on that next step. And so for me, that's been a hard thing to overcome. But now that I've recognized that in myself and know that as a weakness, I don't know. It's a weakness and a strength, because it's good that I'm like researching and looking stuff up. I want to be knowledgeable about the stuff, but at the same time, it hinders me. So it's like finding that balance there. That's been a challenge for me. And also like imposter syndrome. That mess is real. Like, I know what I'm doing when I'm editing. I have a natural knack for this. I've gone to school for English literature. I have a bachelor's of arts degree in English literature. And I have multiple books now that I've edited, articles that I've edited, all this stuff under my belt. And still, I will get to a place where I'll start questioning, like, am I really that, and it's like when I get, I'll get like cold feet. It's weird. I'll get cold feet right when a project is coming in. I'm like, oh God, oh no, they're gonna pay me for this. Like, I gotta make sure I get it all the way correct. And then it's like at the end when I'm sending it off, that is a challenge for me, just because I'm like, oh my God, I hope I didn't miss anything. I hope I, did it all correct, and I hope they like the edits. And usually I get good feedback, and it's just like, why are you questioning yourself this much? It's just, it gets tough sometimes. But yeah, one more. Sorry, I got one more.
Go ahead.
One more is my procrastination is I could procrastinate. Procrastinate. I can't even say the word. Y'all, it's late. I'm tired. But procrastinate like nobody's business. I've been doing this since I can remember, like at least middle school. So this is like my system of just, like waiting to the last minute on stuff.
I did it. I do it too.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, honestly,
especially when it comes to writing on papers in school. Man, I'll wait till the day I gotta turn it in. It's go time, or the night before. It's go time. Yeah, I'm usually the night before, but a lot of times I'll start early. I'll actually start on time, and then somewhere in there I'll stop. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna take a break. And then I stop, and then I'm like, oh, wait, no, it's due tomorrow now at this point. Now you got to finish it. Now you got to push it out. So that is one thing. But the way I procrastinate has changed over time. Now it's like I'll look around, our place, and I'm like, oh, I got to clean. Like, it turns into like I got to clean instead of doing the important work. So it's, those are the top 3, I think, for me. You got a lot more than me.
Yeah, well, I've been analyzing a lot. Well, the questioner in me, has been analyzing a lot of things. So.
I mean, I know the procrastination thing is something I deal with too. It's this podcast is one of those procrastination
both of
things.
Us.
Yeah. See, this episode would have probably been out way earlier than it is now, but
recorded because it'll
be out.
We didn't even get to the point of recording. We was just sitting. Oh yeah, we should do a podcast.
Yeah.
Just sitting there on it
since probably late summer, talking about it,
which is absurd. But I mean, whatever. We here now.
Yep.
So, but yeah, so just going back to the misconceptions, I think oftentimes, and I'm just generally speaking here, that people feel like people who are doing something successful, whatever realm it's in, it could be anything, but you see them and you're just like, man, you think that there's something otherworldly about them. there's something outside that you cannot touch, like that is just them. Like that's just them. Like I wish I could be like that. I wish I could do that, whatever.
Like they did something impossible.
Like they did something impossible because that's just because it's something about them, which it is, but it's not something that you can't obtain yourself. Like that's the thing. Like just seeing people and you're just like, oh man, I wish I could run a successful business. I wish I could do this. And it's like all that wishing, you could do the same thing, but it takes the work.
Yeah.
It all comes down to the hard work and changing your mindset to be able to do the hard work. That's the key to it. That self-awareness, the mindset shift, the habit shifts, the habits, man. It's all about the habits, because like even if you had the mindset shift, you have to change your thoughts into action. Otherwise, it is nothing but a thought.
Yep.
So changing those habits, those daily habits, because really it's all about the small actions of every day. Like I think life is very repetitive, honestly.
It is.
It's very repetitive, and it's like you have to decide how those days are going to look every single day. That's going to progress you in the long run. Mm-hmm. That's one thing that I've had to deal with too, where I there's other people like me too who want what we want when we want it. So we want it.
I mean, it's everybody.
That's almost everybody, right? But to be really successful in whatever it is that you want to do, you have to realize that this is a long game.
Yep.
So instead of that, like, okay, what can I do in this year? Like, you want to accomplish it all in this year. And it's like, when you realize how short a year is, it's like, that's not really feasible. Like, think realistically, what do you want to accomplish in this year to set you up for the next decade? Yeah. Like, that is where or what can you do today? Because all we have is the present moment, right? Right. So what can you do today that's going to help set you up for the future? Mm-hmm. And not dwelling on the future, but just knowing that the results may not come
when you want
it. They're going to come when they come. But if you want to put the work in, it's like basically every day you got to ask yourself, you're going to put in the work in or not.
Basically.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I got on that.
I guess that was a lot. But something, okay, so this is, I mean, it's a sidestep, complete sidestep from this, but we talked about this last night, but I want to talk about this. We have a few minutes, so the video, everybody's talking about it. The video of the woman, like giving this. So it was a video. It's all over social media right now of this woman gifting her man a rental property, and so he sees the paperwork for the rental property, and he grabs it, and he's like, he's obviously not very happy. He's looking at it like, oh, this property off of whatever street, and like, oh no, I'm not about to put in work on this. Like, I just wanted a Rolex or something. So there's been a huge debate that has been based on this video, and a lot of people have been saying that he's dumb for that. He don't have the right mindset. He don't have that growth mindset. He is, he's just like looking at the short term, like, because he wants a Rolex, and instead of the rental property and investment for his birthday and all that stuff. And so I just want to hear again what are your thoughts on that, because I definitely have some thoughts on the whole thing.
I mean, from just at a basic level, not even thinking about like the level up and the just the wokeness of the whole thing. It's just a basic level of communication problem. Like, if he specifically asks for something like that, like, I want like he say I want a Rolex, or I want a piece of jewelry or something like that for my birthday, or he kind of drop hints or something like that. So she have an idea of what to get him.
Right.
And then she turn around and give him something else. Then how can that be his problem? How can that be his fault for being upset or not wanting to accept the gift that he didn't ask for?
Right.
So it's like, listen. First and foremost, just listen. Like if you're gonna do a good gesture, do something that they want.
Right.
Instead of just saying, I'm gonna give you what you need. Like it's stupid. Like, look, just give the man what he want, because that's what he asked for. It's his birthday. Like,
right.
It don't always have to be work or financial growth or all of that. Like, you just want to have fun. If they both at the level of they can spend that kind of money on jewelry, then I don't think getting him a rental property was necessary. He could do that on his own if he wanted to do it. I honestly think that she gave him more of a liability or a burden than anything, than a gift, because it's just a lot more work that's gonna go into that to get it to where it's gonna make money. And maybe you don't got either the time or even the drive to do it. Might not even want to be in that industry.
Right. And I mean, so understand, none of us have the full background, because it is just that clip of the gift. I don't know if anything extra has come out, but yeah, even when she hands him the paper and he reacts, and she turns to the person holding the camera and is just like, see what I tell you? Like, so she knew that he was going to react this way. So that lets me know that you knew that he didn't want something like this. Like, so I just think, a lot of people were just saying, and it's not really even about a right or wrong here. It's just like, but I'm just saying what people have been saying, that he was wrong for reacting that way. And he's just missing the whole point. And I'm like, no, I think y'all missing something here, because I'm totally okay. I'm all for establishing generational wealth. I'm all for investing in ways that you want to invest, but rental property is not for everyone. Like, just because that's a means of investment doesn't mean that everybody wants to do it, or that is just the way for everyone.
True.
And so also it's like him, specifically, like, that's his birthday. If that is not something that he wanted, you just getting him whatever, it's just like, that's kind of like, that's rude. Like, you're not really listening to, like you said, go back to the communication piece. You're not listening to what your partner actually wants. And it doesn't matter what you want, it matters what they want. So, and then at the end of the day, you just pass them over a responsibility. You pass them over a huge bill, especially because I was hearing that the property that she got I saw pictures. It needs some serious work. And I heard it's not in a great area as well. And I'm talking like roofing, the interior is all just messed up, all kind of stuff. And so who knows, it probably is most likely not up to code, obviously, with all them damages and stuff. So it's like he has to put in all this money to get the place fixed up, all this time, all this effort. And then when that's done, he has to get all the effort into getting a person to stay there, and it may not be lucrative for him, like, especially if the house is in a bad area or whatever. So it's just like, you have to, if you're gonna get something like that for somebody, you have to know that they're really gonna want that. Like, you can't just hand it to them and be like, be happy because I'm trying to level you up. And it's like, nah, like, it's my birthday and I didn't want that. And so you gonna help me? You gonna help me fix this up and put all the money in, or what? Like, so I'm sorry, you seem like
No,
you was
no.
gonna say something.
No. Like I'm just trying to think, like, just I don't know, just on the side of being on the woke side, you know, gotta boss up. Like, I mean, now I don't know, like you said, don't know the whole story, so we don't know where they are financially to be able to do something like that. I don't know if she's giving him that for him to just do, or is that something that they doing together?
Right, don't know.
I mean, I will understand if it's something that they doing together, but even still,
Yeah.
like, I still think that she should just got him what he wanted, or something similar to what he wanted. Not exactly. I don't know, but it's just like, don't give them anything that they gotta roll money into. Like,
yeah, if that's not what he wanted, because it could have been something that he really wanted. He wanted a rental property. He's like, I'm been talking about it, whatever. And she's like, she went ahead and got him some, whatever. I don't know, but clearly, just based on that little clip, that was not a conversation they had, or is not something he wanted. And that's not to say that just because he wanted a Rolex for his birthday, don't mean that he's not the type of person who wants to, quote, level up, right?
Right.
It could have just been something else. Like he could be a stocks person. Whatever. But he could be into something else that would do some kind of investment, not a rental property.
Right.
Or at least if a rental property, maybe he wanted a certain kind that he didn't have to put in a whole bunch of money and work into. That,
or just at least be able to do his own research and find a spot that may need work, that's in a place that, like, in an area that will have a better benefit once it's fixed up. Because if you're just doing it in any old place, you putting that money in ain't gonna do nothing, but it's not gonna have an appraisal that is at its full potential because the surrounding area.
Right.
And then good luck trying to rent that out for the price that you will want after you fix it up, because the surrounding area, the people that's there probably won't be able to afford that type of stuff.
Right.
So
yeah, and that's the other thing I was thinking, like, it may not be able to bring money in for him. Who knows?
Yeah.
Or much money, or
Yeah. So I would see if there was like a project that they both was into, or they was getting into, and he mentioned it, and then that's what she presented to him for his birthday.
Right.
That'll make sense, but not like that. Like he wanted something completely different. He just wanted something so he can rock when he go out with her or whatnot. I don't know.
And that's not to, I commend her for thinking that way, thinking of like wanting to give him something that's gonna bring in,
for sure.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like, but you gotta listen to listen to your person. Like, if that's not what they want, it's not what they want.
Yeah, like, cause I'm wondering, like, I don't know how much a Rolex is. I'm not in the market for one, so I don't know. But
I don't know either.
I would say about, depending on, I don't know, maybe a couple $1,000 to tens of thousands. I don't know. But just thinking, like, okay, she spent the money from a Rolex. She spent Rolex money on getting a house. Like, that's good. But then you have to think about how much more money is on cost to get it to rental ready. And I think that's the big issue.
Ooh. Oh. Whoa. A large size. I'm just on Rolex site right now. This large size yellow gold. 36,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So
36,550 to be exact.
So yeah, that's a lot of money. I mean, that money, like, okay. Now let's say for instance she had that like $36,000, and instead of getting a Rolex because she seen that loud price, she like, let me go get a rental property. Now,
instead, right.
Yeah, now it makes sense to do it still. I think that she probably should have, if anything, just said something to him, like just communicated, hey, can't get you no watch, like, or won't be able to do that. I think the money will be a better use to make more money with it. And why not go into the real estate industry and get a rental property together? Like, I mean, $40,000, like, you can, that's enough. I think that's enough to get a pretty, it'll be some work, but you can probably get the house, probably got the house for like no more than $10,000.
Yeah.
And
so it, like, I mean, yeah. and thinking about like how much the watches are and all that stuff, like I said, I commend her because I understand just from the clip, we don't have the full backstory, but I understand her logic with that. But at the end of the day, it's all about the communication. And again, we don't know, they could have had conversations, we don't know, but based on that clip, it don't seem like she listened to what he was communicating.
Nope.
And
sure could have got a chain for $1,500 or something like that. They have to spend nearly as much money.
Yeah.
You wanted a chain? You're like, I just want some jewelry. Like, get him a grill, get him something, get him some rims. Let them shine on them.
Yeah. So, but yep. I think we're gonna wrap it up right here.
Yep.
It's late.
Well, it's night.
So, yeah, it is night.
So yeah, I guess we'll go ahead and wrap it up. I just said the same thing you said.
Yeah, you did.
And I guess so. We'll just say goodbye.
Yep. All right, this was Kristyn B, and
this is Ryan.
So we'll see y'all later.
Peace.